Hey, Lit Set, it's Jasmine.
Hey, Lit Set, it's Nikea, and this is Black Girl Lit,
The podcast. We're a podcast now, guys.
where Black girls are lit
We get lit.
and we read lit.
This is Black Girl Lit, the podcast.
This episode, we're going to be discussing Black Girls Must Die Exhausted, and this is Jasmine's pick. But before we get into the thick of it all, we're going to add a little segment because we haven't recorded in 2 months. You know, we took a little break because life. And yeah, so we're just going to catch up. All right, drink your hustle juice, Jasmine, and tell us what's been going on in your life.
You know, well, we've been gone for a minute and we're back with the jump off. And
okay, I see what you did there.
Jump off. I've been gone for a minute. Now I'm back with the jump off.
So for me, life happenings. Let me tell you, 2020, sis. Okay. I thought me and her was gonna be best friends, and that shit came out swinging hard on me for a little bit. I was like, bitch, back up. All right, so let's see. February, I started off by getting laid off, so that was fun. And then, so unemployment, and then like 2 weeks later, I got engaged. Sis got engaged. You know what I'm saying? I locked it down. You know what I'm saying? He put a ring on it. I don't have it on right now because it's in the dish. But sis got a ring though. And then actually new news just happened yesterday. I just got a new job, but I can't technically start it yet because the world. So
The world.
the world. Y'all know what's going on. So the world. But other than that, I've just been trying to plan a wedding, realizing that weddings are really, really expensive. I am in the wrong business. Like, I just need to go do wedding stuff because that's where all the coins are. Because these prices, let me tell y'all a quick story. I know it's not relevant to the book at all. Went to go look at a venue. It's literally a warehouse. They wanted $9,000 to rent the venue and some tables and some chairs. $9,000.
No food,
No
drinks?
food, no nothing. That's just the rental fee. $9,000, sis. And then this one place wanted $7,000 on a Saturday, and then $3,000 if we had it on a Friday. I'm like, what's this price disparity? What is this? So yeah, I'm in the wrong business.
Absolutely.
Wrong business. But yeah, that is the real high level view of what's been going on with me during our hiatus or break or season break. I don't really know what you call that gap between seasons, but so what about you, sis? What's going on with you?
I should have went first because my life has not been as eventful as yours. I found out that my job has decided not to renew my contract for next year.
What?
Yeah. So I won't be back at the school I'm currently teaching at. But, that's cool. I accepted it. It is what it is. It's cool. My students are upset because they were like, I want to have you next year when I take this English and I just want to see you. And I'm like, well, y'all aren't going to see me. They didn't renew my contract, but it's cool. And I don't know why. They said that I could find out up to 5 days after they told me that. Mm-hmm. But I was like, I really don't care. It's whatever. That's y'all's loss. I'm not even tripping. So I guess that's changed a little things in our lives. So EJ and I moved up here to save money to buy a house. We have started the process in buying a house. So looking at houses, seeing how much money the bank will give us. So that's fun and exciting. Mm-hmm. So I guess here soon I'll be job hunting. I'm not in the mood right now because, like I said, the world, I've been social distancing for almost 2 weeks now. And, I thought I was an introvert, but I'm an extrovert and I am just like,
hold up. Why would you think that you were an extrovert? And what part of you made you think that you were an extrovert?
You mean introvert?
Introvert, excuse me.
Because people told me that. I mean, because I'm quiet around some people. I guess I just took on what people said about me. But yeah, I'm an extrovert. Yeah.
You might be like an introverted extrovert, but you're most definitely an extrovert.
Yeah. Me and EJ are like banging our heads up against the walls. Like, this is a mess. I was up till 3:00 last night.
Dang. Well, technically me too, but not because I was an extrovert or an extrovert. I was just looking at honeymoon places. So
I was watching TikTok. I was on TikTok so long last night that it said a TikTok came up that said, hey, you've been scrolling for a while. Maybe you should stop and eat a snack, get something to drink, go for a walk. And I felt so judged. I really did. I was also looking up vibrators on Amazon. And let's see what other news. Oh, EJ and I started I've been calling it like a business enterprise, but we have a dating column. It's called the Dating Column on Instagram, and we're just sharing our relationship journey as we learn and grow through this thing. And by no means do we want people to think that we have the perfect relationship. We're just learning and growing and sharing, our experience along the way, hoping that it will help other people. So we have an Instagram page. I've been working on our blog. So it's going to be a blog because, EJ came with that idea. Back in the day, people wrote into the newspaper to column. So that's why it's the Dating Column. So
I like that idea.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be awesome.
All right. Anywho, so we just talked for like 10 minutes, I think. But, we got to catch y'all up, keep you in the loop of our lives. Sorry, my hands are ashy. Y'all hear that? Gotta stay moisturized.
I do hear that ash. I do. It's crazy to hear the ash, but I hear it.
That was lotion I'm rubbing on my.
Oh,
dang, that just came from me. I guess I was really dry.
Oh, that's what she said.
Well, moving on. All right, now we're going to discuss Black Girls Must Die Exhausted, and I am going to give you about the author. And I'm proud of myself, y'all, because usually when we take a break from recording, I forget how to do stuff, and I actually practiced this morning, so.
So I totally forgot. I thought it was time for me to do my synopsisizing. So luckily you're on track.
About Jane Austen. Before I get into this, y'all, not Jane Austen. Wow. About Jayne Allen. It was so hard to find like a bio about her. I got this bio off of Amazon. She doesn't even have one on her website. It's very it's very short. But she's a Black girl from Detroit who smiles widely, laughs loudly, loves to tell stories that stick to your bones. And Black Girls Must Die Exhausted is her debut novel. It touches on topics such as workplace womanhood, race, fertility, modern relationships, and mental health awareness, echoing her desire to bring both multiculturalism and multidimensionality to contemporary women's fiction with dynamic female protagonists who also happen to be Black. When she's not writing chocolate chick lit with a conscience, she's spending time with her girlfriends, keeping one ear open for her next story. All right, and that is the bio about Jayne Allen. All right, and now Jess can finally thrive and flourish, and she's going to synopsisize Black Girls Must Die Exhausted.
Black Girls Must Die Exhausted by Jayne Allen. Now, just back up for a second. I was originally thinking about just reading the Amazon synopsis, but then I was like, no, I need to put my flair. The whole point of me synopsisizing is me describing it in my own way. So, Black Girls Must Die Exhausted is the story of Tabitha Walker, who is 30-something, and her life is coming at her fast. 33. Okay. Her life is coming at her fast. Okay. When I tell you, sis, her biological clock is basically ran up. Her relationships are not going as well as she thought she was. Relationships in terms of like her friend relationships, her familial relationships, her romantic relationships. Then she's also trying to get a promotion at work. So life is coming at sis fast. And her only solace is her relationship with her grandmother, who's also named Tabitha Walker, and who tells Tabitha Walker, the 33-year-old, which they call her two, tells her that when she was growing up, she just thought that Black girls must die exhausted from all of the things that they have to deal with. So basically, this is Tabitha's story of trying to deal with everything going on in her life with all this new information, from her biological clock to her dealing with her familiar relationships and just kind of dealing with all of that. And just trying to get through life. So it's just like a life story. It's just Tabitha just trying to get through life. That's it. And she's trying not to die exhausted. And that's the high level view of Black Girls Must Die Exhausted.
We are going to move into our initial reactions. So these are just like our guttural thoughts, like immediate responses to the novel.
Oh, I go first with my reactions.
Yes, it's your book. I thought about, it's your book. You go first on everything.
Okay, well, let's see. So first reaction, as you guys know, my reactions are just generally what I'm writing down. Like, not what I'm writing down, what I'm writing. What in the world? My
Yes, finally,
reaction.
it's tripped up. Yes, finally. It's always me.
My reactions, as you guys know, are literally just my thoughts as I'm reading, and I just write them down. Nakia is a little bit more strategic in her reactions. She puts a little bit more thought into them. Mine are just, yeah, this is what I'm thinking. Yeah,
I don't
let's
feel
put it down.
thoughtful at all, sis. Please don't put that pressure on me, Ricky Bobby.
Okay.
Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
So, first reaction I have is Tabitha is living my air quotes just turned 30. What I thought was perfect is actually a mess life. Like coming into this, especially for me personally, turning 30, I thought, okay, sis, my life is about to be good. And like I told y'all at the beginning, 2020 smacked me upside the dang on head. So I feel like Tabitha's pain because the book starts off with her discovering some things about herself health wise, as well as her relationships. And she's just like, what I thought was perfect is not. And I thought I had more time than this. And sis does not. So I felt that. The next reaction that I had was Tabitha's family situation when she was a kid. Like, so, do I tell this spoiler? I guess I could tell it.
She's so perplexed.
I am. I'll tell this spoiler. So, Tabitha's parents get divorced when she was a young child, and it's because her father decides that he wants to go be with another woman. And so my reaction was that her family situations kind of reminded me of Bernadette from Waiting to Exhale, like her mama's reaction to her daddy leaving her, especially leaving her for a white woman, was very reminiscent of Wedding to Excel and Angela Bassett. And for 11 years, I was your white woman kind of thing. Like
that's real hurt right there. Like for a Black woman, if you're gonna leave me, do you leave me for a white woman? I don't know why. That's worse than church hurt.
Worse than church hurt.
Go ahead. I'm gonna let you finish. I just had to say that.
Okay. And then, so those are the only two reactions that I actually had written down because the book got really good. And I just, I was reading at night and just early morning and just wasn't thinking of writing down my reaction. So I'm going to just go into the dome and I liked that. I like that the book gave us some really good depictions of some female friendships, which we've had that before and in some other books that we've read. But I think what was good about this book is that they weren't perfect friendships and that you could also see issues that these friends were dealing with and how they affected Tabitha. I also like the relationship that Tabitha had with her grandma, who was actually Caucasian. So that's another element within the story. So yeah, so those are my initial reactions because I can't think of anything else. So Nakia, your turn.
Yes, always trying to be off the top of the dome. So initially, I was not expecting much of this book, and I did not expect it to go the way that it went. I wasn't immediately grabbed in when I read it. After reading the first chapter, I really connected with the book. It hit home for me, and I felt like I was reading my own thoughts on the page. I know this can kind of go with major scenes and topics, but there's an opening scene where Tabitha gets stopped by a police officer, and I was like, oh my God, whenever I see a police car, even if it's not pulling me over, I automatically get nervous. Like my stomach starts to get queasy, my heart starts pumping fast, like it freaks me out, and I was like, this is my experience. I thought the novel was going to be written that way for the rest of the novel, like it would just be scenarios that the main character would face that are relatable to Black women, and it kind of did go that way, but I thought more of it as I thought the book was going to be more anecdotal, okay, she faced encountering the police, and she's going to face another situation that Black women typically face and how we get through it, and that explains why we must be exhausted. But it just wasn't, it didn't go that way, the exact way I was thinking in my head, but I like the way that it went. And those are my initial reactions. I didn't want to give too much away. No spoilers over here, sis.
Oh, okay. Betty over there. But no, that's really interesting. I think I had a similar thought about it being more anecdotal, about more reason as to why her grandma told her that Black girls must die exhausted. So I do agree with that. That's actually a really good call out.
Yes.
So I guess next is what, scenes?
Yes, major scenes and topics.
So my major scenes were obviously Tabitha's doctor visit, Tabitha's conversation with Mark relating to her doctor visit and the ensuing
The first conversation or the second one?
The
Or all of them?
All of them, technically, because bro was not having it.
Right.
Alexis's birthday party and then the resulting events from that.
Messiness of it all.
Right. Obviously Layla's situation. And then also it's not like a big major scene, but it's something that I wrote down. And it's the scene where Tabitha was talking to her grandma. And I think it's actually right around when Tabitha's grandma said the comment or quote about, Black girls must die exhausted. And Tabitha asked her grandma, like, okay, well, if you could switch places, would you ever be Black? And her grandma was like, no.
Yeah, that was a good scene. I forgot about that one.
Yeah. Because she basically said that she doesn't think she would have the strength to be a black woman.
Right.
And then obviously the scene at the end. Yeah. So,
What scene at the end?
I'm trying to get spoiler alerts here.
I don't even know what you're talking about, though. Like the
when she was.
Oh, okay.
When
Okay, like,
one was,
okay, I got you.
Okay.
I just need to know what you're talking about. They're probably like, what the heck
is going on? Yeah. That scene, and then also again, not writing this down off the dome piece. The scene on the elevator before Tabitha found out if she got the promotion or not. When she was on the elevator, had the conversation with the white dude Scott, who I would have given him all the hands and cussed him out.
Chopped him in
And
the
then
throat.
even the scene where she met with her boss after the whole thing, and he basically was like,
but I'm on the boss's side in that. We'll get into that. Okay.
Okay. What were your major scenes? I didn't say any of my topics, but
you did right. I'll do topics. You did all the major scenes, so I'll do topics. Okay. And I think that we mentioned this in the author section, but major topics in this novel were infertility, women in the workplace, family trauma and drama, fuckboys, mental health, marital, familial, and friendships. And Jazz mentioned that a little bit. And also representations of Black people, culture, and neighborhoods in the media. And I guess this is major. I guess it's a major topic specifically towards Tabitha is her relationship with her grandmother and also being named after her. And just because of the fact that her grandmother is white, that was interesting to me. And then a lack of relationship with her father.
Yeah.
So it's a lot to delve into.
Yeah.
So spoilers coming. So we talked about infertility. And the novel just opens up with Tabitha finding out that she has 6 months to have a baby, or her eggs are kaputs, and that's not even
a baby. Is joking.
Yeah, and it's not even a possibility that she can get pregnant. Like her eggs are basically trash. And not to make light of the situation, I've never experienced infertility. I don't understand a woman's plight in that manner, but I can understand that it can be obviously traumatizing, especially if it's one of your dreams to have kids and somebody tells you you need to have kids in the next 6 months or you won't be having kids. So that's kind of like the driving. I feel like that kind of like catapults everything in the novel. That's like Tabitha's put in the slingshot and then she's just, okay, deal with the rest of your life now. And that's one of the reasons Black women must die exhausted, because I think I highlighted, there was a scene after she went to work that day and she was like, she had to fix her makeup, had to put on a face and had to smile. She was late to work, but she had to look like she was all together, because if she didn't, I think she was like one of few women on the team and probably the only Black woman that was on the news media team. And we just have to put on airs. We have to make other people feel comfortable, despite what's going on in our lives. We have to push. A lot of times as a Black woman, we have to push everything down instead of being able to like, it's okay to be messed up, because I feel like our counterparts, white women, could have called out and said, I'm not coming to work today, and it wouldn't have hurt them. And Tabitha was up for a promotion. So that's another reason why she felt like she had to have it all together. But I promise you, 80% out of the time, if that would had been a white woman, she could have called out of work or came into the office a little disheveled, and people would have been like, "Oh my god," and she probably still would have got the promotion.
Mm-hmm.
Which
So
is the world we live in.
going back to the infertility thing, I have no children, have never been pregnant, but I will just honestly moment here. One of my biggest fears in life is that I will be infertile because I've never been pregnant, never like been anywhere near that down that road. So I have no clue if I
Right.
can get pregnant. So that's one of my biggest fears. So that kind of, and then I also keep telling myself, oh, I have plenty of time. I have plenty of time. But then I'm like, do I have plenty of time? I don't
Do
know.
I really? Yeah.
Yeah, I
And
don't know.
I felt that
I
way
don't know
too
my age
before.
limit. Yeah.
Yeah, I felt that way before I slipped, tripped, fell on a dick, and got pregnant. So, like, because I was on birth control for so long, and I was just like,
Mhm.
I've never been pregnant before. Had a scare or 2 or 3, but I've never been pregnant. So I understand. Like, I totally understand that.
Everybody has scares, you know.
Yeah.
Everybody has them.
Right.
Yes, but no, I do agree. And then also just the whole thing of like her having to like put herself back together as quickly as she needs to just go back to work. Like
Yeah.
that's something. Another, I guess that kind of like you said points to why we must die exhausted because we have to go the extra mile when our counterpoints don't even have to go a quarter of a mile.
And the quote I have from that, it says, I don't even think I highlighted the beginning of it. It says, I think she said, I forced a smile to show my trustworthiness, observing the look of bewilderment on the face in front of me. I assumed that she had, this is not her going to work. It was a scene from when she was going to visit her grandmother. Because, as we all told you, her grandmother's white. Tabitha is Black presenting.
Mm-hmm.
And it says she forced a smile of trustworthiness, observing the look of bewilderment on the face in front of me. I assumed that she had seen my grandmother and was having trouble putting 2 and 2 together. And the note I wrote is that the things we do to make other people comfortable, having to always prove ourselves, because the person at the front desk at her grandmother's community or retirement community or whatever was like probably looking at her like, you're Black, Miss Tabitha's white. That's not your grandmother. And it's just, we always just have this constant, Black women, we always just have to prove ourselves, like validation. Like we need to have a card that says, yes, I'm educated. Yes, I have a master's degree. And I feel that a lot too, like, because me, I'm am. Wow. And I have a master's degree. Wow. So I am, I am young presenting. Not to be cocky, but I don't look like I'm in my 30s. No. So most of my students, they thought I was like in my early 20s. And I think people at my job, they look at me, I get mistaken for a student all the time because a lot of teachers, we don't see each other just because the school is so big, but I get mistaken for a student all the time. And then, but when people see that, I have a bachelor's degree, I have a master's degree, I've been teaching for over 6 years, I have, I've taught at college, and they look at me and think I'm young, I'm immature, I don't know things, but I have to constantly, prove myself or try to do things to show I have the experience, I'm qualified for this, and try to seek their validation, which honestly, I'm over that. So F you people. But anywho, just thought that went with what we were discussing.
It does. What was the next topic?
Let's see. We have women in the workplace, which we kind of touched on just a little bit.
Touched on that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think in this novel, it's not just like Tabitha's job and her promotion. She's going up against a white male who's privileged. And also she's dealing with one of her coworkers brings up to her being a part of this woman's group at their job to get better benefits for them, like in regard to like infertility treatments and just like health coverage. Because I didn't even think about this, but a lot of jobs you have health coverage, like for if you get pregnant or if you have a baby for your kids and stuff. But a lot of jobs don't have the infrastructure in place for women who are infertile, who need to do IVF or who need to freeze their eggs or who need to have a surrogate. And I thought that was a major topic to bring up. And Tabitha is trying to battle between carrying the banner for women and trying to handle her own personal issues and dealing with being a Black woman and kind of meshing the two together. It's a tough job for her.
No, and I think what I liked about that like situation was that Lisa, the person who was coming up to her constantly, I think her name was Lisa. Lisa came to Tabitha at the end of the book and was like, "Hey, girl, I realize this was not your battle. This was not your fight. Like, yeah, this is kind of does affect you, but it's not your responsibility to have to fight this battle with us. It's like, even if you can't help us, I'm gonna still continue to fight the battle for you. I just don't, I was not aware of everything that you have going on. And I think that's important to kind of notate, is because when we're asking people to be supportive or helpful, like, you want people to join in as much as possible. But at the same time, you have to be cognizant of what someone else may be going through. And that may be a reason as to why they may not be able to help you into the way that you expect them to, or the way that you hope them to. So I thought that was really good.
I just want to say shout out to Jazz for the word cognizant. I love that word.
I'm smart or whatever.
Oh, Jazz, this kind of goes with the topic, the scene you brought up, the family trauma and drama, when you talked about her parents getting divorced.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, the family trauma and drama definitely affected Tabitha. One, it affected her from her relationships with men and how she deals with men. So in the story, she has a boyfriend named Mark. Well, I guess she calls him her boyfriend. I can't even really remember if she actually calls him her boyfriend or not.
They're in a relationship. I know that.
There's some kind of relationship. But they haven't really talked about their future, what they're doing. They don't really see each other during the week, only on the weekends. And they've been doing this for about 2 years. So then when she has this whole situation with her eggs and stuff, now she's like, oh, well, I guess I need to have a baby. Let me go have this baby with Mark. And then all of a sudden, now she's figured she wants to like spend her rest of her life with Mark. And I think a lot of that kind of stems from her relationship with her father and how he left her mother. And then also she has to deal with her mother, kind of like obviously still hating her father and everything that happened there. And then also just kind of dealing with her mother when she was young, having to be raised in that household where her mother was so resentful of her father for leaving her. And then her mother's also kind of constantly telling her that she needs to just go be with Mark and she needs to make things worse. So she's just dealing with a lot of drama and stuff from a family side. And like I said in the beginning, her only solace throughout all of this is her grandmother. So.
I'm looking for this quote that I had about Mark, but Tabitha said something to the effect of like he was a good on paper type of guy.
Mm-hmm.
He crap, where's that quote? Yeah, I can't find it. But Tabitha mentions that she feels that Mark is, good on paper. Oh, there he is. She was dating a, air quotes it has, or quotation marks, paper perfect man, suitable for marriage and tall enough for kids. And my note on that was it was superficial dating standards and marriage requirements. So I was just like, sorry, I got a text message, got distracted. And my FaceTime was ringing. So I hope that is not in the recording while you were talking. Sorry.
I don't think so.
But yeah, Tabitha, in some aspects, like I admire her, and then someone's like, girl, you're so dumb. Like you're so dumb, Tabitha. But you an educated lesbian, but you dumb. Like she's educated with no common sense.
Yes. I don't know. I think my struggle with Tabitha, like she was really, really intelligent. And I think her reactions and her thought processes and her actions just, they didn't align, I think, a lot of time with what she claimed that she wanted, which is understandable because a lot of us go through these struggles and a lot of us kind of waffle back and forth. Like, for example, the way that she handled her relationship with Mark, like, all right, you drop all this on the table, doesn't really go the way that you intended, you part ways. Then you have this traumatic thing happen, and your first thing to do after you find out, this thing, you call Mark for a quickie. Like it just, I don't know. It was just some of the things that she was doing didn't make sense. But at the same time, I can't really judge her because I've been there. So
I feel like we can't put all the blame on Tabitha because high key, low key, Mark is a fuckboy. Like,
Mark was most definitely a fuckboy.
So after Tabitha was like, what do you think about having kids? Mark was like, oh my God, I don't know about having kids. And they broke up. So then like he starts texting her like, what are you doing? I'm like, go somewhere. And she did good. She was ignoring him. But then finally they met up again and he was telling her like why he didn't want to have kids and blah, 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 blah. And then she was like, so you led me on and you still want me to be with you and give up my dream of having kids? And I was like, Mark, Like he is trash. He's trash. I hated him. Last
Me
season
too.
we had shitty mamas, and now we're starting off with fuck boys. Like I just can't. Like he made me so mad. I wanted him to die. Like Mark was the worst. I'm sorry. I
No, I
understand he
see.
had family trauma, but he's just the worst. Trash.
Yeah.
Basura.
I will say the one saving grace, not saving grace for Mark, but the one saving grace I think that helped her with her relationship with Mark was Tabitha's grandma's friend, Miss Gretchen. Because Miss Gretchen came through with the quotes, which I have a quote. Miss Gretchen said, "A man that ain't got no plan for you ain't no man at all. And he's definitely not your man." You hear? So I was like, yes, Miss Gretchen, let her know, because Mark had no plans for you and your relationship. He was just kind of like, I like how this is. I don't really see it. I haven't really thought about our future. We've been doing this for 2 years and you haven't thought about our future or where this is going to go. Then yeah, Tabitha, that lets you know that that's not the man for you. Like
And
Miss Gretchen was dropping nuggets.
y'all, Miss Gretchen is like, she's like Blanche Devereaux and Sophia Petrillo like mashed together from the Golden
Yes.
Girls. Because
Yes.
you know, Miss Gretchen's out here living her life free like Blanche, but she also has some wisdom like Sophia. So to give you a little vision of who I loved Miss Gretchen. She kept it real. But I will say the other people in Tabitha's life was like, oh, give Mark a chance. Like her mom, her grandma. I was like, no.
Give her terrible advice.
Like, let him go. So it's like, cut him off. Like, after the second time, I would have been like, mm-mm.
No,
and I think she went back, like, even a third time. Her grandma was like, oh, you should talk to him. And then, no, I was like,
because the grandma told her that if he keeps trying, that means he's a rare find.
No.
Or a rare type.
No. If that was the case, I'd be married to a fuckboy right now.
Facts, sis. Facts. One other thing I did want to talk about, because just for the record, guys, this will probably be a longer episode than usual, because usually when we record, there's like a time limit, but the time thing's not here, so we just talking. Right. We don't know how much time we've been talking. We don't know how much time we got left, so this might be a real long episode. Just prepare yourself.
Right. At least it's probably 45 minutes.
Probably. But I do want to talk about Alexis and Layla, which were Tabitha's two best friends. And so Alexis is her friend from childhood, and I think she met Layla in college.
Yeah.
And them chicks were dealing with their own drama amongst the story. But I just are we dropping a bunch of spoilers in this or no?
I guess I don't care. But before you drop a spoiler, I just want to say I liked Layla and I did not like Alexis.
Me too. Oh my god, I was over Alexis.
Alexis is a snooty booty.
She is. Now I'm snooty with the best of them. I am bougie and snooty with the best of them.
But you're not snooty though. You're bougie, but you're not.
But
snooty.
Alexis was. No.
And then she was trying to like fake the funk. We're like, sis.
Right. So Alexis has this lavish birthday party. Her husband Rob throws it for her. Alexis has 2 kids. She's a real estate agent. They live in this really nice house. She always wears her, 1.5 carat diamond engagement ring. She's just that thing. Like the hairdresser, Tabitha and Alexis go to the same hairdresser. And the hairdresser
in the hood.
It's in the hood. The hairdresser calls Alexis Miss Thing because that's just her personality. That's her vibe.
Yeah.
Well, come to find out, Rob out here having a whole affair, and it just devastates Alexis. But my thing is this: first of all, sis, it's not the first time he cheated on you. Okay,
that part.
Second of all, why are you trying to act like you just? I don't know. Her just whole reaction to it was just. Granted, I'm not married yet, so I don't know once you get married how you handle those things. And I do think for certain relationships, you can come back from affairs and stuff like that. I don't think an affair can necessarily always be an end all kind of situation. I think it depends on the relationship, the people, the circumstances, whatever. That's their business. But Alexis, you can't get mad like and be so devastated at his behavior when you have previously allowed this behavior from him. Like, that was the part that I struggle with.
That part.
And I don't know. But Layla, I felt bad for Layla. But I will tell you this. So when the whole he having an affair thing came out, I thought for a second that Layla's Mr. Big was Rob, and I was like,
I know, me
I was like,
too. But
oh,
that wouldn't have
especially
made sense because like she knows she knows
right,
Alexis' husband. But I was like, is it? Is it?
right.
Would it
Especially that
be?
scene where she popped off. It was like, you told her, and I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh.
Same.
But it wasn't. So it was kind of a moot point. But no, I felt really bad for Layla. I kind of wish I would like to see a story about Layla. I know that's kind of weird, but I would be okay with Layla having her own like.
I loved Layla. And I love Layla because she was real and she was herself and she was honest. But she also had some demons. I guess we won't spoil that. She had some demons that she was dealing with. She was kind of like she was keeping stuff from her friends and not allowing them to help her in her time of need.
And they greatly affected her. But no, I was just over it. But I think that was interesting about their relationships. It was like how so Alexis and Layla met because of Tabitha, but Tabitha got jealous one day because it looked like Alexis and Layla had hung out without her. She felt some type of way about that. I don't know. It's just really interesting how it's like the relationships or friendships were described in this book. Like they were realistic, but then also kind of not realistic at the same time, I think.
Trying to laugh at your thought process out loud is hilarious.
Yeah, so like I like the idea, like whatever they would text, like bat signal. That's when somebody knew that they needed to bring some liquor or something. Like somebody's going through something.
I mean, that's how Black girls like if you had a group chat and somebody's in there like, bitch.
Yeah, no, that's realistic. I get that. That makes sense to me.
Okay.
But the fact that like I don't know, like and maybe it just Layla was just really good at hiding things. But the fact that she didn't like not Alexis, but Tabitha wasn't aware that Layla had basically moved, didn't have a job, like all of these things that were happening. I don't know. That felt like at least I try to be perceptive enough in my friendships that I try to hopefully I think that I can kind of identify when one of my friends is going through something and kind of like speak up. But then again, I don't know. Maybe I don't know.
I feel like Tabitha did feel bad though. I just feel like we all get like this. We're all so absorbed in our own problems. Because just think about all that Tabitha had going on. She was trying to get a promotion. She broke up with her 2-year boyfriend. Her eggs were cracking. So, I think that's understandable. And I feel like if that's something, if it had been a pattern of behavior that Tabitha had been doing for a long periodically time, then then I think it would have been an issue. But I feel like this is just, a one time. It just so happened that with Layla was a big thing. So I feel like Tabitha was like, oh shit, I'm a fuck friend. But I think it was just like a one time thing for Tabitha. I don't think that's her character.
Okay. All right. Were there any other major topics that you wanted to talk about? I know you had all the topics.
I think the last one, I mentioned representations of Black culture in media and stuff, but I feel like the one I really want to talk about is Tabitha's relationship with her grandmother.
Oh, yes.
So, as we mentioned before, Tabitha is Black presenting. Her mother is Black. Her dad is half Black, half white. So that makes Tabitha 1/4 white. And her grandmother, right? Her grandmother is Caucasian, and I just think their relationship is so interesting because initially, if they hadn't mentioned that her grandmother was white, I would have never thought about it because it was just a true, genuine relationship. And I feel like Tabitha mentioned this, like that's just her grandma Tabs, like that's who she knows. She lived with her when her parents got divorced and her mom got remarried. So she was like most Black mothers. I feel like even my husband, he was like raised by his grandparents when he was in like elementary, middle school. Like he would go to their house and spend time over there with them. So his grandparents had a hand in raising him. And I feel like Tabitha's grandmother did the same thing. Like she raised her, she cared for her. Tabitha that was her friend. Like that was her confidant. That was the person that she went to, that she trusted. And I don't think race was ever an issue for them. And I think it was because of the love bond that they had and because of the the blood bond that they had. And what was I going to say? And Jazz mentioned this before. Race only came up when um, Grandma Tabs was just talking about how she had a friend, a female friend who was Black, and how her female friend couldn't even go to the state schools, and she had to go to schools in other areas, even though she was smarter than Grandma Tabs.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when Grandma Tabs mentioned Black women must die exhausted. And when they asked each other, like Grandma Tabs asked her, "Would you be white if you could?" And Tabitha asked her grandmother, "Would you be Black if you could?" But I appreciate the fact that they both accept their own experiences. Like, my experience has made me who I am. I appreciate who I am. And even though if someone asked me that question right now, honestly, I would say, I want to see what it feels like to be white. Like, I really would love to see what it feels like to be a white person in this world today.
Mm-hmm.
And I honestly feel like I would be further in my life than I am right now. Not saying that I don't appreciate being Black. I love being Black. Don't get me wrong. I love my melanin. I love my skin. But I would just like to see like the advantages that I have. I haven't had a struggle life at all by any means. Like my husband likes to say that I was the richest, brokest person he knew. Just from the way that I grew up, like my parents afforded me a comfortable life. I never knew that we had financial issues. But I would just like to have seen how it would have been if we were white. It's interesting to me. It's it's intriguing. Very intriguing.
So for me, when I first picked this book, and I actually read the synopsis before I selected it. I know, right?
What?
Like growth in season 3. I didn't just pick a book based on the cover. So when I actually read the synopsis and it says that Tabitha was told this by her grandma, I just assumed that her grandma was going to be Black. I just was like, her grandma's just telling her, look, we must die exhausted because we got to go through all these struggles. I just thought, that's what I thought the book was going to be like. Nike is in the minute, thoughts me more anecdotal. But then when I discovered that her grandma was actually white, I was like, oh, well, that adds a different perspective of it. Because her grandma's person on the outside looking in and like, I cannot imagine having to deal with all of these struggles that Black women have to deal with. Like, y'all must be absolutely exhausted for having to do all these things. Like she said, her friend from childhood had to go to a school in a completely different state just simply because of her color. And just even from her relationship with Tabitha's grandfather, she saw how it affected him. He's this vet, but can't get a job because of his race. And he's just all these different things, segregation, Jim Crow, all these things were affecting him. So she could kind of see how that relationship was, or that his being Black affected him in the world. Me personally, I think I would be white for a day. I don't want to be white for a long period of time. I just want to be white for a day. And I'll specifically want to be white on a day where I get pulled over by a cop. So that way I can just tell the cop how I feel and not feel like I'm going to die for it. So, or just not even die just because I'm in the car. So,
Right.
That's when I want to be white. I also want to be white when it's time for customer service issues. I think that would be a good time as well.
Right. It's because like, yes, because like Black people, we're not allowed to show any emotion except happiness and complicitness. Like we always have to be happy, and like if we cut somebody out, we're automatically angry and we're ghetto and like, and I feel like
women.
Yes, and I feel like Granny Tab, she just understood. She couldn't really like live Tabitha's experience because she is white, but she just understood her struggles and she listened to her. She was someone for Tabitha to confide in. I don't think she always gave her the best advice, especially when it came to Mark, but their relationship was just so, I feel like it was another like grounding point in the novel. It grounded her, it centered Tabitha. It is another point of the story that drives the novel forward. And I love their relationship. It was just so sweet. So
No,
sweet.
I agree. I enjoyed it. I think it made me think about my own relationship with my own grandmother. So I have two grandmas remaining. And I don't have close relationships really with either one of them. I mean, I have a closer relationship with my mom's mom than I do my dad's mom, but still not to that level that Tabitha had. And it kind of even like one makes me want to be closer to my grandma, but then also, should I ever become a grandmother, I want to make sure that I have such a relationship with my grandchildren as well. But yeah, I enjoy the relationship. I think it helped keep Tabitha grounded. I also liked when she went to go see Granny Tab because I like Miss Gretchen. Because I just said what foolishness Miss Gretchen was going to be up to that day. Miss Gretchen was out here getting Ubers. She was out here with the men with the blue pills. And Miss Gretchen was living her best life. Okay,
Yeah, that's how I want to be when I get older. Okay.
Side note: Miss Gretchen kind of read. I kept forgetting that she was white.
Okay. All right. I'm glad it wasn't just me.
I kept forgetting. Like they would say that her hair was blonde, and she would say, "Oh, well, we couldn't do this. It was different times." And I was thinking, Miss Gretchen gotta be black, right? But then I was
Somewhere.
like,
well, of course, I'm sure she's had some black in her, if you know what I mean. Okay. All right. So our next segment is Sips, is where we want to invite audience participation. Y'all, come on. It's season 3. Engage with us. Send us the sips. Like, what do y'all think? What questions, comments, concerns do you have? What input do you have about this novel? So you can email us written up notes or a voice note at blackgirllityt@gmail.com, or you can slide into our DMs on Instagram at blackgirllit_. But I do have one sip for this episode. I thought about it. So this book is a part of a series. Well, there's only 2 books in the series, but the second book is called Black Girls Must Die Exhausted Plus and a Baby or something like that. So I'm mad at that title because it kind of spoils the first book, because you kind of already know what's going to happen at the end of the first book. I'm not going to say it, but you're all smart Black girl litters. You know what's going to happen.
Well, I mean, maybe not, because it doesn't, in the synopsis, it doesn't tell you about her issues. So if you don't watch this, you have no clue what she was struggling with.
But yeah, if you look at the title, you already know what's going to happen with that particular situation in the first book and going into the second one. So I'm a little mad about that.
And then also I'm reading the synopsis for the second book, and it says, after diving headfirst into a world of single mothers by choice. So
see, why y'all gotta see it? That's why I would like synopsis, but then I don't, because sometimes they give away too much of the plot. I just want enough to like tickle my fancy.
Get you moist.
But yeah, that's my sip. I hope y'all have some sips, okay? Y'all need to engage with us. Just, get in on this way before it gets too big, because next thing you know, we're going to have too many sips and then your sip won't get sipped.
And
that's on period.
So I'm going to keep my mouth shut today.
All right, y'all. This is the last and final segment, what you've all been waiting for. We are finally going to rate this book.
Rate it.
Jasmine. What's your rating, sis?
Okay. And I did not write it down, so this is off the dizome. Oh, chug a chug. All right, so I actually rated this book a lit. I gave it a lit. I greatly enjoyed reading it. I will say it started off a little slow in the beginning, but what Black girl lit book hasn't started off slow? It's not a Black girl lit read if it doesn't start off slow in the beginning. Okay, so started off slow, but I think the moment that I realized that I was thoroughly enjoying the book was when it was 1-2 o'clock in the morning and I was up reading it on my phone in bed, just trying to keep it. Or I would go to sleep reading it, wake up and start reading it again. So that's how I knew that I was really into this book. And I think also what I liked about it, that even though Tabitha has issues, she is smart but not smart, she was a relatable character for me. And I think I felt like the book was reading my life, especially from the sense of where you think you are a 30-something woman and you think you have all this time to get the career, to get the husband, to have the children, and to do all of these things, and you realize, oh, I don't have as much time as I thought I did, Or, you know what? Actually, I have all the time in the world. It doesn't have to happen on this specific timeline. I think it was something that was really good because I've kind of always struggled with how I thought I was going to see my life. To be honest with y'all, when I turned 30, I would have thought that I was already married, had my at least 1.5 kid. So now for me to be 30
Now
now
let's
and
all laugh at that. Ha ha
laugh,
ha ha
stop,
ha.
stop. Because when I think about who I would have been married to, who child,
Ooh, Chile.
child. Yeah, I would have been married with 1.5 kids, but I probably would have been in jail too for murder. So, ooh, Chile. Pew, pew.
Hold up. Wait a minute.
Uh,
It's a 22. Pew, pew, pew.
so I think that's why I like the book so much. It was definitely lit. It was just extremely relatable. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Will I read the sequel? I think I will. Will I read it as part of Black Girl Lit? I don't know. Will it be a fun read? I don't know. We'll see what happens. But it's a lit for me. Nakia.
All right. My rating is tipsy.
And you know what?
I-
I'm not gonna. What was the reason? I'm not going to. I'm gonna allow you to have a difference of opinion.
She said she wasn't gonna. What was the reason? Actually, what was the reason? Me.
I did. I was explaining what it was. I was just,
I gave it a tipsy because there was just like something missing just to take it over the edge. I guess because it was slightly predictable.
Okay.
That's what it was for me, just slightly predictable. But it was a good read. Like I could see myself in the novel and having some of the same experiences that Tabitha had, obviously. I think it was a really good novel. It wasn't it had a lot of like heavy content and good content, but it was broken down in a way where it was easily digestible and it made you think. So I appreciate a novel that makes me think, although it's fiction. It causes your synapses to start firing off. There we go.
Okay.
So this book has been rated tipsy by Nakia and lit by Jasmine.
And that's okay. That's fine. We don't always have to agree. And me even playing devil's advocate on my reading and saying I could see the tipsy, it had a lot of heavy content, but sometimes it was kind of miscombobulated. It didn't always flow necessarily. These events and different things were just kind of, some of them kind of did feel like they were just kind of thrown in there. But for my own personal opinion, I liked that it was lit. But that is our rating of Black Girls Must Die Exhausted.
Yes. And that is the end of episode 1 for season 3, our premiere episode. I'm so excited to be back for season 3. I just can't believe it. We're still going strong. Like, oh my God. But I did want to mention before we sign off with you all today, our second book for the season is called Thick and Other Essays by Tressie McMillan Cottom. So this is, I've started reading it already. It's an academic book. It's legit essays. There's footnotes. That episode's supposed to drop on 4/15. I hope I can finish that book.
Yeah, you haven't finished it yet, then I don't know about me.
It's thick. Literally, it's heavy. It's not a long read, but it's more academic prone. But we're gonna get through it. We don't give up on books this season. We're not doing that. That was season 1 behavior. We're now in season 2. Okay. And then since April is such a long month, we have another episode that's going to be dropping in April, and this is Jasmine's pick. It is entitled Intercepted by Alexa Martin. And I read the synopsis for Intercepted. I'm excited. And it's a part of a series. Jazz is always bringing in series and makes me want to read the other
I
books.
don't even know that they're series until it's a little too late in the game.
Yeah, I already have Intercepted on my phone, so
I had to put a hold on it on Libby because it's got a 2-week wait. So I was like, let me go ahead and put my hold in now.
Jazz. So I put my hold on it back in January, and I just got it in March. So yes. Yeah. So we're reading some popular books this season. Thick was a popular book, and so is Intercepted. So yeah, so we're gonna get this thing popping. We have 3 episodes dropping in April just because of the way our posting schedule is going. So make sure you read Thick and Other Essays by Tressie McMillan Cottom and Intercepted by Alexa Martin so that you all can join in the conversation with us. If Jasmine, you don't have anything to add for the good of the order?
I got nothing.
All right. Well, that's it for today, y'all. Thank you for listening. We'll catch you in the next one.
Thank you, guys. Stay Black Girl Lit. Remain Black Girl Lit. Forever be Black Girl Lit.
Oh my God. And I'm going to give you the calm Zen version. And as always, stay Black Girl Lit. Bye. That's it for today's show. Thank you so much for listening. Be sure to subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes. Leave us a 5-star rating and a top-notch review to get us to the top review page on iTunes. And be sure to follow us and listen on SoundCloud.